All right, okay, family. How we doing out there? Huh? How we doing out there, family? I hope y'all are having a powerful and impactful beginning to your weekend, right? Happy Friday, everybody. I gotta say it that way, right? Happy Friday, right? We made it to the weekend, the beginning of March. National Women's Month, right? Today will probably the next episode I do will go over the different things that are in March, right? Because going through the archives there, we didn't do one on March, so we will have a bit of a conversation on what's going on in March. However, this month of March 2025 has given us lots to talk about, hasn't it, family? Shout out to us now. We can proudly say are the 1100 plus strong family. Thank you for your support, man. I don't know how else to say it to people, but in congratulations and thanks to the fan base here at A Different View, right? To the family and of course in classic fashion, while I'm doing this, I did not shut off the sound. So my apologies on that little buzz noise that y'all hear. My apologies, right? But as we are getting it together, right? This is a day, this is a time, family, right? Whether you look in your government, whether you look in your home, whether you look on the job, folks trying to get it together, right? Shout out to us, family, who are trying to get it together out here, man. Right? And shout out to us who are the 1100 plus strong, who believe in, who love after, who love on, and who think about and think on that, which is a different view. Man. A different view, family, right? Welcome in. Today's topic, we're going to be short, and seriously, we're going to keep it short. There's really not much to talk about, family. This is more of a time of action, which is maybe what the topic is on. Is a time of action, right? We saw a lot in the presidential address to Congress. We saw a lot. We've seen similar things like this happen before. Okay, so it's not the first time that the way that thing went down a couple nights ago is always a thing, but that's how it went down. Okay. The reaction is simple as what the senator from Michigan was saying. She so happened to be Democratic. I'm waiting for Republicans to do that, though. See, there's a friend of mine who posed a question on social media, right? Or more of a request, right? Those who are in the opposite vein to show your love and your fealty toward humanity, right? Fealty, old school English, right? I'm talking Middle Ages and stuff, right? Dealing with loyalty from a subject of love for something, right? You can look up the term fealty. Fealty, I believe is how it's spelled, right? Again, Fealty. But the base of his request, as we've mentioned before on this podcast, is if the conservative, again, here on A Different View, the idea of conservative and liberal, when you break down the definitions of the words, many of the things that we're labeling each other are misnomers because you think a certain way or you don't. I don't need a title on it. We talked about this last time, the last couple conversations speaking on feminism. If the man was treating the woman right? If women are treating women right and we're not being good, bought Negroes and house Negroes for massa, you don't need these words because we are treating each other correctly. However, this is why we have these words, which is basically what I was trying to get at for those who may have not understood what I was saying when I was talking on the subject of feminism. Okay. This is not to say that we negate advocacy for female rights, or anybody's, but specifically, right? This is something, family, we're gonna see more as the uptick of all this mess continues in the government. Is the clear? I mean, when we talk about your open enemy, family, your open enemy is there is no conspiracy. It's right in front of you, right? They want you on the bottom, and they want to be on the top. They're going to use every excuse possible to tell you how unholy and hellish you are. Use every religious book and text and prayer and everything else to enforce how unholy you are. duck and dodge it when you ask them about it, right? This is how this works, okay? This is no different than Cain. This is no different than Cain talking to God about him killing his brother Abel, right? And we killing our brother and sister on the planet. Oh, believe it, please, right? We got to let a lot of this go. What that senator at the end of that whole mess told everybody is exactly where it is. That's not a Democratic thought. It's not a Republican thought. It's a human thought. When, family, do we stand up for ourselves and hold government accountable for the sickness they are perpetuating and pushing through humanity? When do we do it? The finger pointing thing has got to stop. You don't believe that a certain group of people should be around you? Guess what you do, family? You get the hell away from them. That's how that works. You don't kick them out the country. But see, when you're dealing in a certain level of deception here, when you're dealing in technology, this whole planet is a big old planet for all of us to live on. And what you got is a bully mentality. Since everybody want to talk about, we ain't going to say, some people will call it a bully spirit. We ain't going to make it spooky. You got a bully mentality. No different than people want to sit there and kick the victim down. You're okay doing a certain thing and wanting somebody else to hop to your tune. And if they don't, they're this, they're that, they're a hoe, they're a thought. They're all, we call out people on their name. This is what it gets. This is what happens. It's time to organize, family. Let's just be clear. Okay? This is why podcasting has become a thing the way it has. It's a way that it's hello, right? We're going to act like that's not a thing. It's why you see certain podcasts that are sitting there talking about life, talking about godliness, talking about how we treat each other. Those are the ones that get shut down. When you get down to the nitty gritty, we're not talking about like crocheting, knitting, and that's not to take away from anybody's hobby. Right? We just finished talking about how one of these months here, I forgot if it was January, December. One of them was a hobby month. I think it was January, right? Or maybe February. I forget. Right? We'll look it up and double check. But still. No, we're not talking against hobbying, but again, when you on those type of topics, it's like, See, when you get on the ones that are dealing in the fundamental nature of things, we're talking philosophy. When you get down to the brass tacks of things, that's where people have a problem. And that's where the great battle is. That's where the great battle. This is about greed, family. Every verse you ever read, see, for all of the preacher who will talk a whole lot of stuff on Sunday. This is why I don't really deal in organizations and religions, and not from that standpoint. Belief, yeah, y'all could talk to me about belief all day long. We down for that, right? That's the real deal. The part where humans get involved in that which is most organic and given by the maker, that's where all this goes sideways. That's where all this denominational mess comes from. That's why people don't want to go to church. I'm not buying into your organization. You could go to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts for that. There is a nitty gritty that Jesus dealt with the holy people that you can clearly see today, family, when they are full of too much mess and they don't want to let it go, which is what led to a lot of the destruction in Israel. If we're honest about it, this ain't anti-Semitic. This is real. This is biblically documented. What are we talking about? Right? You want to bow your knee to Herod. This is what you get. Nero, Herod, Nebuchadnezzar, I don't care. Input any name you want. When you bow your knee to it, that's where it goes. We ain't talking about, I got nothing to do with it. We ain't talking about that. Again, the edict's been given to you not only to give to Caesar, but also to God, which guess what that means, family? That just don't mean paying your taxes. I know, we turtle shell too much. That's got to do anything that deals with Caesar and anything that deals with God. We can do that primary context with Jesus was talking about getting the money out the fish's mouth for taxes, KJ. Again, family, there ain't no time anymore for these arguments and all this silliness. It's time we we already talked about it. It's time that we band together, folks. I don't know how else to say it. When we spoke on at the beginning of all this, talking about Labor Day, right? We said how all these conversations kind of intertwine because that's how life is, family. They intertwine. right? It's the same thing, the bully idea, right? This is what I'm saying. Train your kids how to defend themselves, man. This is what you got going on. And there ain't no need for your child to get pummeled in the ground talking about we trying to be passive and peaceful. And again, no disrespect to people, what they believe, okay? But we just a different view. There ain't no time to be sitting here talking about we being passive and peaceful and Brutus or what are some of the names here of bullies that we know, right? Interject any name, right? These folks kicking and stomping out your kids in school while faculty members trying to keep their check don't want to keep these kids in check. And that same mentality is coming from the parents at home who think it's okay to run roughshod over folks. I'm telling you, listen, we're out of balance, family. We're out of balance. And we can love each other, love on each other, and love your enemy without being stepped on. That's a very real thing. This is what Malcolm X was trying to teach the black man. So if everybody wanting to sit here playing that, again, now when we say house and bought Negroes, we talking about black folks. Stop caping for massa, okay? We can do what we want. At the end of the day, that bullwhip, cat of nine tails, or whatever they use to hurt our ancestors and elders is reserved for you. We mentioned the story of myself on the job back in the day. Big old tall brother. If not, this is the first time y'all heard it. Big old tall brother. I don't associate with being black is what he told me. Dark as night, y'all. This brother gonna sit here talking about I don't associate this, that, and the other. See, this spirit of liberation's been in me from the jump, y'all. I'm good. I'm good. I watched my mother go through it. I've heard stories in my family, they've gone through it. I am done on the mess, y'all. And we speak and preach this message of peace and love and liberation to anyone who wants to listen. Clearly, we got about 1,000 plus who do, right? The 1,100 plus strong. Which again, family, thank you for your support. At the end of the day, let a lot of this mess go. They don't love you. They ain't trying to love you. It's the same thing in your family, y'all. Like we said, what happens in the home comes out in public. Your mom and daddy don't care. Listen, I must be very clear. Same thing with the Christians sitting there. We waiting on God. We waiting on that great revival. Listen, when the rains came at the time of the flood, there were a ton of people who told Noah to his face, laughed him and mocked him that it wasn't going to rain. Guess what happened, family? Oh, sure enough it rained, man. Oh, yeah. To quote Stone Cold Steve Austin, oh, hell yeah, it rained. And a whole lot of rain. When we say they coming for it, family, they coming for it. This ain't got nothing to do with what you think it is. Go back into history and look up go back and look over my, because I understand, right? Knowledge is hidden. Go back and listen to a lot of these episodes, family. I've seen the uptick on certain things, talking about and shouting out the family out here. Shout out to the ladies, man. We've seen the increase in ladies listening to the podcast, right? It's almost doubled in size. Thank you. Right? Again, the story of Lazarus. It was Christ that picked the woman to roll the stone away. It is the woman who brings life into this world, right? After every 270 days, that baby coming. Listen, you get drunk off of what mass is telling you and the game is sideways in your mind. And at the end of it all, after everybody is done killing everybody, the last man standing, since WWE wants to do this thing with John Cena, and they did it with Hulk Hogan back in the day and all that, where the super-duper good guy goes bad guy, right? Again, where have we seen that before in life, right? Like the European coming to these lands, caring for, see it again to our so-called white brothers and sisters, if you truly this is the acid test, family. I'm talking to the brown and the black tan, copper tone, skin tone folks on the planet, right? Who stay close to Massa, who have a love for Massa. You really want to see if they care about you? Say something backwards to them and find out how fast that pimp hand slaps your face and slaps your wife's face and slaps your kid's face and the generations of them to come. Talk back against massa. It's the same reserved thing for the white woman. It's the same thing reserved for poor white people, so-called white people. It's the same thing reserved for the children. This is how they look at you. This is how they will always look at you, because that's the mentality they bought into. Again, if you got any love for them, as our ancestors have told us, love them from across the street. It is wrong to, listen, every person has a choice to choose, but it is wrong for you to subject yourself and then families after you under this mess because you want to stay stuck to massa. It's not right that your great-great-grandkids got to go through this sickness because you think these people are okay how they're treating folks. That's not fair. Right? Or maybe it is. Love each other, band together, family, make that thing very obvious. Okay? If we got to do smoke signals and pass notes to each other behind hall rooms, and I'm talking about from school all the way up to the job you work on, man. Make it very clear of the places where refuge are, because these folks are, this ain't no, how do I say this? Again, because this is the kind of stuff in the mind that people have allowed this defense to create in their mind. This is not like some soothsaying, foretelling, forebodings, evil forebodings, certain words that are used in scripture, right? We ain't doing none of that here, okay? We're talking the obvious truth from the beginning of this country. The European came here to take land, not share it. Every time they've had a chance to share it, they've either done it very little to none. And then it's expanded from those that they said native to now you begin to find out all the different people groups on this planet because they have messed with education. As the phrase has been said, whoever controls your education controls you. Why? Because that's a real thing. They give you the story they want, aka history, right? Then you don't know your story because you know his story. That's why they play on the word like that, because it's real. At some point, we got to get serious. Because those, again, that bully is out there kicking you in your ass for your lunch money. When do we stand up for ourselves, y'all? Right? They don't have enough inner fortitude to get lunch money for themselves. They got to kick you down for yours. And this is just some of the balance. Again, we can love each other without being run over, y'all. Right? That's why a lot of this ain't even halfway talking to, and I done kept y'all 17, 20 minutes too long. So we're going to go on, right? We're going to enjoy this weekend. And again, seriously sit down and have where this is where it's at, family, right? This is where it's at. Okay. We did not start this. Right? We're out here loving each other, loving on each other. Folks don't want to see men kissing men and women kissing women. That is, unless you're a little horny one night, then you do want to watch some women kissing some women. We're just going to keep it 100, right? Or vice versa, okay? But as far as the philosophy of people being allowed to live in peace without you driving them away and all this mess, no. And nothing biblical in that, man. We're not, again, for folks who sit here, they point back to the Old Testament. They do all this. We done did all this posturing, man. There is one above us all who judges us. You go on about your business and live peaceful with folks down here. But we're not choosing that. And God has different ways for us to be able. This is when we're talking about good, perfect, and acceptable will of God. We have talked about this. And again, if we haven't, if I'm forgetting, then you know about it now. There's different levels to this that are okay under the maker that the man will not accept. Okay? And they use the scripture to say otherwise. That's just what it is. Again, we're keeping up. We're warmongering out here, y'all. That's the word. Bloodlusty. You're bloodthirsty. It's like a bunch of Draculas out here, y'all. And Lord knows we got a lot of bloodsuckers out here. You got a lot of bloodsuckers out here, man. Yo. They don't want your success. They want their freedom. Supposed freedom at the cost of your life. That's what it is. You either bow your knee or you don't. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't. Daniel didn't. There was a penalty to pay for it, but they were rewarded on the back end, y'all. Right? Shout out to the senator from Texas, man, that had something to say. You got to have something to say. Family, do we have anything to say? They got a whole lot they saying to us. Do we have anything to say? Like the great voice of those who stood up for those people during Labor Day, man. Because you ain't working us like dogs all day long. The people making the money for the man. Not being paid for it, right? You ain't working us all day long. And we should be paid correctly for it. That includes this BS argument between men and women. We're going to have to get over that. We're going to have to stand up for each other legal just the same way, ladies, that we did that Me Too, that y'all did that Me Too movement. Going to have to do it for the money. Because the man don't want to come off the money. That's what this is about. Possession, money, silly stuff that rusts and rots. But at the end of the day, things that we need to be able to live just as comfortable as they are down here, right? Again, I said just as comfortable as them down here. Playing around with what jobs need college degrees and who's doing DEI and all this. But again, the game is rigged so that they can keep their little clubhouse party and you struggle and suffer through life. That's what it is. That's just what it is, right? So that's what I got for y'all today, family. Again, we'll get into the topic of March here a little bit. Again, shout out to National Women's Month, right? Yeah. Okay, one time shout out to the A Different View podcast crew, right? Family, right? Shout out to y'all, man, for making this thing happen. We'll go back over the notes I looked, just looking at the podcast. We're listening to a few more nations now. Of course, we've already mentioned Russia, Oman, the UK, and the United States. There's a few others that joined on. I forget them at the moment, but we'll find the information because we're just talking off the cuff right now, and then we'll bring them to y'all. But thank y'all for your support, man. We seen it to teenagers, man. We got a little uptick here on the kids, right? Shout out to the children, man. Listen to these words of truth. No one is perfect. Ain't nobody perfect. Some parents love you. Some parents are broken. And it's hard for them to love you because they don't love themselves. And there's a way that we can do this thing where we can get what we got to get and go on and live in peace. Enough of this strifeful mess. It's not of God. It's not. That mess is coming from Massa. Massa is the one who had the house and field Negroes fighting each other. Turn this holy land into a battlefield for greed. It's been overdue time we stand up again, family. It's been overdue time. Right. So that's what I got for y'all today, family. Thank you very much for walking this road with me. Thank you for walking this road with me, right? And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.